name is Anne-Marie Sorrell, and I am President and CEO of the Mosaic Group, which we're a full-service marketing, public relations, and event management firm headquartered in West Palm Beach. However, we do have an office in Fort Lauderdale, and we service the entire state of Florida and the Caribbean, as well as other parts of the state. I was born in Jamaica, and my family moved here to South Florida when I was 3 years old. Grew up in Pahokee, so I'm a muck girl and small town girl, but with big city dreams. And I went to Florida A&M University after graduating from Pahokee High School, majored in healthcare management, and my mom needed some help, so I decided to move back home right after graduation. Thought it was going to be a temporary thing, and at the time she had moved over to West Palm Beach. And so came back home and started a new life here. Quickly realized that what I thought I was going to do in healthcare administration was not going to happen right away. So I went back, got my master's degree in business from Nova Southeastern University. And after that process, really thought I was going to move to Atlanta and land a big corporate job with one of the big 5 consulting firms. But God had another plan, and I got another opportunity here to work for a real estate developer. And started working for a real estate developer for about a year. That didn't work out so well, and the experience was really tough. But it really made me go ahead and decide to step out on faith and start, at the time, 2 businesses, one in management consulting and one in corporate event planning. And decided that I had more support because I had a business partner on the corporate event planning side, and so I decided to focus on that because that's where I had more experience. I had been planning events since high school, and I had been doing a lot of community service and volunteer work for various charities, helping them plan their events, so it was just a natural transition. So I moonlighted for about a year, working the business on the side, went to work for another custom home builder, and then the market crashed as far as real estate goes. And instead of going on to look for another job, I decided to step out on faith and go full force with the Mosaic Group, and here we are 11 years later. Starting out as a young business owner that's African American, female, naturally people would want to kind of put you in a box and only have you work on the Black projects. And so early on, I wanted to ensure that we came up with a name that was very inclusive and diverse, and showed anyone that we can work with anyone, no matter the demographic as far as age, religion, sex, race, ethnicity, whatever it is, and that we were not an in-the-box company but an out-of-the-box company. And Mosaic, from an art standpoint, is elements of colors and shapes and sizes. And so for us, I wanted a company that did that, brought people, places, events, and opportunities together to form the Mosaic. And so that's the significance behind it. Most small business owners don't put an emphasis on marketing or branding to start with. They just don't. It's usually, this is my product or my service, I'm great at it, and I'm gonna start a business, and if I kind of build it, they'll come. And that's always the challenge when working with a small business entity, no matter the race or background of that business. So it's definitely an educational process for any business, but in particular African American business owners. There is an education process for the importance and the value of branding, the importance and the value of marketing the business, and what that means, and that it goes beyond just creating a business card or just creating a website or a brochure. It's everything from your packaging, your pricing, your competitive advantage, knowing who your market and your target market is, and developing your product or service to meet their specific needs, the distribution of it. So it's so many layers that we have to constantly educate clients on. It is a lot of research. And I right now there's so much more research that's available than what I had 10 years ago. A lot of research, really knowing what it is you want to do, researching the industry and seeing how to start it. Also tapping into free resources like SCORE. Here we have Center for Enterprise Opportunity, we have Paragon, Florida, there's the TED Center, who do a lot of free training and technical assistance programs. You want to take advantage of those free resources where you can go and get educated about how to actually run, manage, market, operate, finance the business, structure the business properly. In addition to that, I sought out mentors. And so I looked at who were the power players in Palm Beach County or in South Florida who I could tap into. And no, everybody's not going to be open to helping, but I will say that there were a few people who was very, very instrumental in giving us our first shot. When the company was first started, my business partner and I, we attended probably 3 to 5 breakfasts, lunch, and networking mixers a week at minimum. There was always something every day. Got involved in the Chamber of Commerce's, but the networking was very important for us to get our name out there, start building contacts and connections. And it's really about tuning into who you need to build those relationships with, and instead of 30 cards, then maybe 3 or 5. Who are the 3 or 5 people that I need to meet at this event and make a connection with and follow up with, that's gonna allow me to help them with what they're trying to accomplish, and then B, have them help me. And with entrepreneurship, you have to find a pain point. When it came to Blockbuster and Netflix, for example, Netflix found the pain point. The pain point was that people did not want to drive to go get a new video. They didn't want the late fees. They didn't want to waste gas and time. And so those were pain points that the makers of Netflix identified and came up with a solution to solve that. It was still the same business, renting movies. It's just that they came up with a different way of how to solve that pain point. So as a business owner, small or large, you have to constantly think of, what are my customers' pain points and how do I solve that? That's what's going to make you different from the competition. That's what's going to make you stand out, is that you're solving a problem that your competitors may have overlooked, or they're too big to solve, or they're just not paying attention or listening to the customer. Well, social media is definitely no longer just a trend. It is a necessity. How you use social media and which platforms you use for your business is going to depend on the business. So for products, for example, Facebook is always going to be great. Twitter is always going to be great. Instagram is always going to be great. Any of the video like YouTube, Vimeo, all those are going to be great. Pinterest is going to be great. Anything that creates a visual is a great source. The challenge with social media is you have to have content, and you have to constantly update content. You got to keep it new, you got to keep it fresh. You also have to create conversation. It's not just a sales pitch. People don't want to be sold to. Social media is about being social. So they want to have a conversation about your product or service. They want to be educated about your product or service. They just want to be aware. Not necessarily, oh, come get it for $5.99. That's great sometimes to do those promotions, but people really want to be engaged, and they want to be able to share their experience. So it's about experience, it's about conversation, and it's about content. The one thing that I was green about, and it's probably the most challenging for entrepreneurs, is the sacrifice. it looks great, it sounds great being an entrepreneur, because you think, oh, I'm gonna have all this freedom and I can wake up when I want to and I can go when I want to and I can do what I want to. But that's not the reality, at least not in the beginning. Now, at some point when you're making millions of dollars, or whatever that comfort level of dollars is for you, that happens. But for the most part, it is very challenging. You sacrifice a lot of time, because if you're really focused on growing your business, you are going to spend every aching hour and minute of the day that you have to make it successful. Your mind is not always shut down, or hardly ever, because when you're an entrepreneur, no one's giving you a paycheck. You're not clocking into someone's time card, and if you do work or not work, they still pay you. That doesn't happen. You have to go out, catch it, kill it, and prepare it. So you are constantly thinking of, where is the next client going to come from? Where is the next customer? Where is the next paycheck? And then once you grow and start hiring employees, now you have to deal with employee situations and making sure that they have money to put food on their table. So it's a constant challenge as it relates to being able to understand the sacrifice. You're sacrificing time with your friends and family. You're sacrificing even time for yourself at times. There's a passage in Think and Grow Rich that I live by, because there's a lot of times as a business owner within the last 10 years that you sit back and think, why am I doing this? And is this the right thing that God has for me? And do I really want it that bad? And I read Think and Grow Rich probably about 9 or so years ago. And one of the things it talked about was not having a plan B. And I know it's a lot of people out there want to have a plan A, B, C, D. But I remember reading that, and it talked about getting rid of your plan B. Because if you always have a plan B and C, then you're always thinking about that, and you're not focused on the here and now. You're not focused on the dream and the thing that you're trying to achieve. You're just focused on, well, if it doesn't happen, if it doesn't work out, then I'll just move to plan B. So early on, I kept my focus and my eye on my plan A. And that's what I've always did. There was never a plan B for the Mosaic Group. Plan A was it. Once I set on that track, that's what I focused on. And that's what's helped with the growth and success. And yes, it's been many sacrifices and ups and downs and blood, sweat, and tears. But we're now starting to see the fruits of our labor really manifest. And that's because the focus was on plan A. So, well, you can find the Mosaic Group at themosaicgroup.co, which is THEMOSAIC.co, not .com. You can also find us on Facebook at The Mosaic Group, on Twitter, The Mosaic Group, on Instagram, The Mosaic Group, and on LinkedIn, it's The Mosaic Group, the number 2. So The Mosaic Group 2 on LinkedIn, and YouTube, it's The Mosaic Group.